All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Glad to have you guys on another episode of the Monday Note. And yes, we're going to listen to a little rock and roll while everybody's getting logged in there, Harry, buddy. If you don't like it, you can always put us on mute. So, anyway, glad to have you guys here. We'll dive into a lot of the nuts and bolts here in just a few minutes. First and foremost, we always like to roll these out. We always have a variety of people on the call on the Monday Note. These guys are recorded for you all to catch a replay on, to watch at a later date if you'd like to. You can catch them all on our Vimeo website at vimeo.com/weekclosenotes. But it has been a very busy week. A happy President's Day to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a great Valentine's Day weekend. It's hard to believe that February is already halfway done. Think about it. We got over a 12th of the month done, a 12th of the year done, and that's counting. So where are you at on your goals? Where are you on your deal flow? Are you making profits? Are you getting things done? I mean, what's your focus? What's your faith in your deals doing? So excited for tonight's call. Before we dive in, we'll go through a few things here with you guys. If you guys, highly recommend you guys connect with us online there and catch us at LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and Twitter. Yes, the little bird, by checking for at one Scott Carson or one Scott Carson's at my handle there. Or you can catch us online on the videos on YouTube or Vimeo by looking for WeCloseNotes.com. We close notes there, guys. So that's the way you catch up with me. One of the cool things that we have just figured out is the Facebook live stream. So we'll be doing a little bit of a short little blog, actually probably doing a daily little answer, question and answer session for you guys. Depending on what deals are going on, what's going on with the market, things like that. Monday, President's Day, banks are closed. It's kind of a quieter day. We had a couple investors come on in, spend about an hour here in the office with me, going through some deals. Michelle and Rick Hill from South Austin came in, and we worked through a couple deals. I think she's got some doozy of deals that she's working on in Tennessee and Florida. Where else is she looking at? Ohio. So definitely excited that she's out rocking and rolling. Her and Rick are doing a great job as well. Some upcoming events. I mean, we just wrapped up our virtual note buying for dummies workshop, biggest one we've ever had. 175 people signed up for the event to go through it. We had literally at one point 160 some odd people on it, so huge amount of attendance. It's recorded. Those that attended it will get the recordings here by Wednesday as well, but just a lot of positive feedback. I'm sure most of you can see some of the different Facebook posts of people tagging themselves and things like that. This upcoming event, if you guys are really interested in kind of learning how to build a legacy for yourself, how to secure and protect your assets and the wealth you've made, and also help you build wealth in the future, check us out in Houston, Texas at the Westin Memorial City Hotel at the Build Your Legacy Summit. Really excited about that. For those of you that went through the virtual this weekend, want to get a little more of a kickstart to your business heart. You can join me here in my office February 26th to the 20th with a fast track note training. Contact me for more information. If you go through a fast track, you also get access into the mastermind. Our next virtual, because I know people are like, man, I really wanted to make it to February's virtual, but I had the loved ones I had to take care of, which is completely fine. Our next one's March 11th, 12th, and 13th. You can get signed up for that by going to WeCloseNotes.com. Kimberly, I may cancel it. I don't know yet. I probably will on the fact I post everything to March. But anyway, our next, if you can't make it in a week, you can come to March 24th to 26th. That is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because 27th is Easter, I believe. And I'm not going to work on Easter. So then our next mastermind is April 15th to the 17th in Austin, Texas. Kimberly, you're going to want to be here for that, darling. Along with the rest of our mastermind crew. We should have a great, great time with the crew here in Austin, Texas for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, some fun stuff. Definitely fun stuff. Going through deals, going through the market, going through business systems, and some of the people we're bringing in for that will be phenomenal. Yes, our Build Your Legacy Summit next weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We start at noon on Friday. We'll end at about 5 o'clock on Sunday. Houston, Texas, West Memorial City Hotel. Normal price is over $5.99 per person. Early bird price was $2.99. Actually, if you were curious, we've got an even better price for you, reverse early bird for $99. Just use the code WCN99 to get it at $99 per person. If you're past or present military, we're going to go ahead and copy you into the event as well. So if you want to get a free military pass to it, just drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com. We'll be glad to comp you in about that event. We're over at 200 strong right now, 200 registrants. Just really excited to line up. Friday will be, along with Saturday, will be a lot of content about trusts and offshore entities and raising private capital the right way, how to become a private investor. If you've got an IRA, what you can do with it. And then Sunday will be based on a lot when we'll say, hey, what can you do with it? We've got a really great lineup coming in on Sunday. George Angel will be speaking again on Sunday. Myself, Jason Bible from Houston House Buyers. Sean Wolfswinkel will be coming in and talking about turnkey investments. He's a fellow collective genius mastermind with me and Dave, who's on the call here with you guys. Who else? Curtis Ward will be speaking as well on it, how he makes 100,000 plus on fix and flips. So be a lot of great content. No, it will not be a pitch fest. I want you guys to know that for sure. Aaron Young will be sharing his Rockefeller strategies that you guys don't want to miss. Kevin Day Squire, one of the best estate planning attorneys in the nation, coming out all the way from San Diego to share his wealth of knowledge and help you guys get things set up. So our room block has expired, but you guys can still book. I think on hotels.com it's like $139 a night, something like that. But you go to buildyourlegacysummit.com or drop me an email and see about getting you a ticket to that amazing event. There's let's not forget Greg Reed from Think and Grow Rich, 3 Feet from Gold will also be there. My buddy Greg, one of my mentors. You will not want to miss out on that. So also, everybody, we've starting to expand a few more of our note closer groups, our meetups across the country, helping note investors network with fellow note investors in their markets. We just have opened up one in the San Francisco Bay Area. We've also got a couple there in Orange County and Los Angeles County. Now, I'll be sending an email out tomorrow with the entire list of where we're at. We've got some in Memphis, Nashville, Chicago, New York City, Miami as well. We're really kind of expanding across the country with opportunities for you guys to network with local and like-minded note investors to help you expand your business, expand your knowledge, expand your private investors list as well for you guys. So stay tuned for those as we'll drop an email out to those. Definitely something you want to join up with. Kimberly, you've got 317 or something like that in your DFW note closers. There's 209 in Houston. Just really excited because a lot of great stuff going on in those meetup groups. A lot of people networking, joint venturing, and sharing deal flow. So any questions about any of the events, what we talked about here before we rock and roll into some of our fun stuff tonight? Now, give you guys a second or two to ask me questions. Many of you guys have been on a few of these Monday notes and realized that, hey, one of the things that we're doing this year is really expanding into, or really focusing is a better idea. I've already expanded and already been investing in a lot of these markets myself for the last few years, but really kind to, give you guys a sneak peek behind the curtain to what's going on in these markets, and that's why we're bringing on experts and people to help you out with things. A couple weeks ago, we had Mike Jordan with Strategy Investments in Detroit, really shared a lot of great knowledge about the market. You're going to love the information today with Columbus, Ohio. You're also going to love some of the other stuff we have going on, Memphis, Baltimore, just to name a few, Indianapolis coming in, and some of those other great markets that can really make some money on some of the note deals that we're seeing across the board here. Let's see here. Let's see, why are my YouTube videos from this weekend not showing up in my history? I don't know, Patricia. They should. They should be. I don't think Chase has goofed around with them too much. There'll be a link for him into Basecamp before too long. I don't think Chase made them private. He might have to help just keep it for those that were part of the virtual note buying for dummies. But we'll check into it and have more of an idea on that tomorrow for you. So, but they weren't taken down. I can tell you that. Maybe he may have made them private, so that may have been something to think about there for you too as well. So, anyway, let's get started with the what we came here to learn, right? The Monday note here. Yes, guys, I want you guys to be a note investor. There's a lot of opportunities outside of your markets. If you're not in an area that's got a lot of deals full for you, there's plenty of markets up that are expanding, and the time is to take advantage of those markets is now, while they're on the rise up, not while they're at the peak, like unfortunately a lot of people are doing. I always get a lot of questions about, hey, Scott, what do you think the market's going to do with oil dropping and layoffs and things like that? And I'm a big believer that you guys have to be investing and leveraging your money in smart markets that are starting to increase, come back from the downturn, that are still great places to invest. Kind of like what I did a few years back, invested in Florida when it was on the lowest of the low. I've ridden that market up, been extremely happy with the market. I think there's some great markets out there that you guys can take advantage of. And so I think Ohio is definitely one of those markets, primarily Columbus, Ohio there. And I'm excited. Got my buddy here, Dave. Dave, you here on the phone with us still? Still live with us, so they're on the webcam as well?
Mr. Carson, happy to be here.
Glad to have you, buddy. Glad to have you, man. So before we bring him on, I know a lot of people are like, well, okay, what can you guys expect with Ohio? Because it's always like, well, how long is it going to take me to foreclose once I buy a note? How long is it going to take to really get the asset that I can actually do something with it and make some money on it? Well, if you don't modify and you end up foreclosing, I found this great little time frame, this arrow here for you to give you guys an idea. Roughly, based on the deals that we're seeing, the deals that people are closing on, it's roughly about a 6 to 9 month time frame to foreclose once you're in that neck of the woods. And if you go out there and search Ohio foreclosures time frame, a 3-page PDF pops up from a really good attorney that talks about it step by step. But one of the biggest things, that's the front end of the deal. Yes, you make money when you buy, but the idea is if you're not going to modify, what are you going to do with the deal once you end up getting ready to move with it? And that's one of the things that a lot of people are scared of. Like, man, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Do I have to go hire a new team to make things happen? And so when you're invested in a new area, it's always important to know realtors, time frames like we just discussed, a good real estate attorney to help you get things closed, rehab crews. You got to know the location. Make sure you're not buying something on the wrong side of the tracks or the wrong side of the town. And you need to know value, you need to know the rents, and you need to know market trends. What are the hotter markets and the harder parts, down to the zip codes in some cases, and neighborhoods of what's going on in a market. And that's what's great about Dave, because most of you guys that are invested in neck of the woods are looking to modify it first off. But if you're not going to do that, you're going to go to a deed in lieu approach. If their borrower's not going to work with you, you're going to end up foreclosing and then turn it either sell it as an REO or basically keep it as a rental or try to modify it and go from there. So our Columbus expert here tonight with you guys is Dave Payerchin. There's a picture of Dave there. Hey, I don't think you've got the goatee in that photo, though, Dave. You're looking pretty leaner than in that photo, huh, bud?
I really wanted to share, Scott, you and I were part of a fitness group, accountability group, and we've both been working pretty hard, so I'm happy to see that picture. I lost about 18 pounds since that picture.
Yeah, Dave's a really, I won't say the ball and chain, but we've got a nice text messaging group from a mastermind that we're part of. That there's, about 14 of us now in that group there? A few people come and gone.
We added 2 more today. It's people who are looking to make changes, positive changes in their life. So not only run our businesses efficiently and effectively and do a great job, but we're going for the health as well. We want to all hit it on all cylinders.
Amen to that, man. Life is too short not to enjoy life in a good way and be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So, Dave, you're the co-owner of the Columbus Turnkey Houses. You'll talk a little bit about that tonight. You've been an active investor since 2005, correct?
Correct.
Sweet.
Yes.
And you're also a licensed realtor there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally change the presenter to you, buddy, and you will take it away. Yes, make Dave the presenter now. So you can pull up your PowerPoint and be good to go there, buddy. Something should have popped up there and given you access. Let's see here.
How's that?
There we go. Perfect. I see the turnkey. I think everybody sees you're live and in charge, buddy.
Good deal. Well, first off, Scott, really been looking forward to doing this, especially with you, just the way you run your classes and keep it very loose but still very informational and educational. And I know your viewers are really good people. I've met several of your students, and it's just a great privilege to be able to share some stuff about Columbus, Ohio. That's our market. And our main business here in Columbus is we buy a ton of houses, and we're going to talk about that here tonight, how some of your students and your note investors, if they're coming across deals in the Columbus, Ohio area, you're on the webinar with one of the biggest buyers in Columbus, and we would love to do business with more of your students. But what we do, we buy a ton of houses, and we get these properties fixed up and rented out, and we turn around and we sell a ton of turnkey properties. We also do still retail some properties. We wholesale a little bit. But we're really a full-service real estate company, and we are involved in pretty much every facet of real estate as far as acquisitions, rehab, leasing, and selling properties. So tonight we're going to talk a lot about the Columbus, Ohio market. I'm going to share a ton of stuff about Columbus that I guarantee a lot of people on this webinar had no idea about Columbus. And we're going to talk about how you can send some deals our way. We'll buy your deals all day long. We want you to make money. We want you to be successful. And then also some great turnkey opportunities that exist in this market that normally wouldn't be made available, but we made several properties available here tonight for your webinar. So real quick, that's me on the right, and that's my business partner RJ on the left in the photo. He's the better looking of the duo, and as you mentioned, we started in 2005. RJ and I joined forces in 2012 to buy and hold. So that's another big thing. We buy and hold our own properties. We own and manage a portfolio of properties, so when it comes to property management, things of that nature, we can talk about that as well. If there's questions regarding the eviction process, I'm happy to share that with you because we do own and manage our own portfolio of properties. And that number has gone up since I created that slide. But our goal is to get 100 houses. Our goal is to, you talked a little bit about goals, Scott, and our goal this year is to do 120 deals. That's a mixture of wholesale, turnkey, and our own buy and hold. And we began selling turnkey properties in 2012 basically out of high demand from out-of-state investors because we're well connected as far as our network and different masterminds that we're a part of. And we began buying and holding our own portfolio, and then more and more people basically started saying, hey, can you get me some of these turnkey investment properties? And that was the beginning of our turnkey business. And between RJ and I, we've completed over 200 transactions just working together. We really focus in on single-family homes. We've done a lot of duplexes and 4-unit properties as well, but single-family seems to be our bread and butter. So what we teach people is cash is king. We invest, for cash flow. And one of the things about the Ohio market is we're not speculative investing. We're not buying properties in Ohio with the intention of hoping they go way up in value. It's not a bubble type of market like you're going to see in California or Arizona or Nevada or one of these places. So we invest for cash flow. It's a very cash flow rich marketplace. And you got to have the right team in place. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about team because nothing I personally have been able to accomplish would be possible without having a great team in place and a great business partner. And it really takes an army to do this thing on a big level. And that's what we're doing here in Columbus.
Takes an army to manage this idiot, I'll tell you that.
you know a little bit about that, don't you, Scott?
Yeah, definitely.
But it definitely does. So why do investors fail? Speculation. So it's like Russian roulette, When investors are buying properties and hoping that they're going to go up in value, that's one of the riskiest ways to do this investing thing. So we invest for cash flow. And we want to get paid from day one. So we close properties every single week, Scott, and we're buying properties that we love them when they're already rented out or when there's somebody in there already paying a monthly income. So that's going to cover our expenses from day one. And if you're going to be successful in buying cash flow properties, you got to choose the right market. And we're going to talk about why Columbus, Ohio is phenomenal and work with the right team. If any of your students want turnkey properties and they like the Columbus, Ohio market, I'm here to let you know there's no better team to work with than our team and our property management that we have in place, managing over 400 properties. And we just really have it dialed in, and we want all of us to be successful, and we're definitely in this thing for the long haul.
So, yeah, and are you originally, let's get a little bit of your background, or are you going to get into that a little bit here? Because I don't think your phone number is it a Columbus number that you called me in on it, or is that, or I think it's somebody else here. Columbus been home for you the entire life?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked, and you know what? And I'm glad you stopped me because I'll just go on and on. I'll just jump right into Columbus and start talking about deals. Sometimes it's good to slow down. And I'm actually from Cleveland, Ohio originally, and I'm from the east side of Cleveland. I'm from a suburb called Euclid, Ohio, and I graduated from Euclid High School, and I was entrepreneurial from the get-go. So right after high school, I really didn't, you know, feel the calling to go to college, only because I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I got the opportunity to move out west, and right after high school, I packed up and I moved out to Phoenix, Arizona, and that's why you noticed on my cell phone number it's a 602 area code, and I lived out in Phoenix for 9 years, and that's where I started my real estate investing. But something really interesting, Scott, that a lot of people don't know about my story is when I first started out and I was young and I was, you know, working in corporate America, I used to work for the old phone company MCI. Do you remember MCI?
Yeah, back in the day, yes,
Back in the day. So that's where I got my start. And
Check out your headset.
What's
Check out your headset, right?
Yeah. Do you happen to remember, Scott, what happened to that company, MCI?
MCI WorldCom, wasn't it? Isn't that what it merged
Yes.
into? And then didn't the ex-mayor of New York end up buying it off for a song and a dime, basically?
Well, you know what? Bernie Evers was the CEO at the time, or upper management, and he actually went to jail. There was a huge conspiracy.
That's right.
All sorts of people lost their 401k, and that was the beginning of, like, this was before Enron and all the stuff that started to happen. But there was a big, you know, fraudulent things happen. But I witnessed that. So I'm in my early 20s, and I literally, you know, walked into work one day, and no one had a job anymore. So at the time, it was terrible. I saw people crying their eyes out, but that taught me at a very young age that I was not going to be able to rely on corporate America. I witnessed the devastation of a corporation completely collapsing and corroding from the inside out, and that's actually what led me into real estate. So I went from telecommunications into real estate, and I started out as a wholesaler, and I've worked on everything from short sales, and now, you know, we're doing a ton of buy and hold. But I lived out west. I'm from Ohio originally, and I met my business partner, RJ, at a real estate seminar, and that was in San Diego, California. We stayed friends for a long time, and then we both wanted to take advantage. I wanted to move back to Ohio. My family's all in Ohio, and RJ and I started working together in amassing a portfolio of rental properties. And through us buying and holding rental properties came a lot of out-of-state investors saying, hey, I want to get my hands on some of these rental properties as well, and hence the birth of Columbus Turnkey Houses, which brings us here to what we do today.
Awesome. Now, you guys, are you just investing in Columbus? We had a question about that a minute ago.
We're just in Columbus right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and feel free to cut me off at any time, Scott. Rattle off questions. We'll make this as interactive as possible.
Cool.
But right now we're going deeper into Columbus before we go wider outside of Columbus to answer your question.
Cool.
So that's what we're talking about, big bucks in the Buckeye State. And real quick overview of Columbus, Ohio. A lot of people don't realize this. We're the 15th largest city in the U.S. Population. That's gone up. These are a little bit dated numbers, but over 800,000 in the population of just Columbus. Metro area, almost 2.5 million. A lot of people are surprised by that number.
Yeah.
Right there, 2.5 million. Median sales price, $118. That's up a little bit as well. We'll call it $130 for conversation. The city has never declined in population, which is really interesting. And that
Is
was
that because the Ohio State
owner
graduates can't leave because they can't get jobs anymore? I'm just joking.
Well, no, you know what? A lot of them not to leave because Ohio State, that's a huge economic driver of Columbus.
Sure.
And the cancer research, there's hospitals going up here.
Yeah.
It's a very dense market of a lot of medical professionals and doctors and things of that nature. So a lot of people, you're absolutely right, though. They come here, but they don't leave. They stay because it's such a strong medical driven economy.
Same thing with Austin, Texas here, because it's similar in size. I think actually Columbus is a little bit bigger than Austin based on the actual what was I driving my ceiling sign? It's like 750,000, but the metro area is about the same size. So it's very similar in nature. So
I shared that stat with somebody earlier, a lender friend of ours, and he's out of Las Vegas. He couldn't believe it that Columbus is actually bigger than Las Vegas. You know, so. It's not a small city. It's not an A-class market, but it's right at the top of the B-class as far as growth and size goes, which makes it ideal for us as investors. So we don't have to compete like we're in L.A.
Right.
We're not trying to buy rental properties in L.A. in these high-dollar markets. Still get great deals. And here's a little picture of a map here. That's where remind everybody where Columbus is, right in the center of the state. It is the capital city. And a great quote that I found in the main newspaper, the Columbus Dispatch, Columbus is the only Midwestern city to show significant growth from 2012 till present.
Nice.
Because a lot of other Midwestern cities, they're just kind of staying level or even declining. But we're happy to be in this marketplace where the numbers continue to go up, and it makes it really good for the economy.
Cool.
Columbus was featured in the Personal Real Estate Investor magazine as the investor's best option for a secondary market. And when we're talking about cash flow, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight, you want to be in that secondary market. You don't hear about anyone going and buying properties in LA for good cash flow, for good ROI. It just doesn't happen. You want to be in that secondary market, and Columbus is right at the top there as featured in Personal Real Estate Investor magazine. Want to share some Fortune 500 companies here in Columbus. AEP, Nationwide, you see the Peyton Manning commercials all over the place for Nationwide, right?
Yep.
The
chicken
parmesan
tastes so good.
Nationwide is here. They're right down the street. They got a huge building. Big Lots Cardinal Health is a Fortune 500 company in Columbus. And you don't hear about Columbus, Ohio's sports teams too much. I mean, we're not NFL, but we do have professional sports teams here as well. In the NHL, we have the Columbus Blue Jackets, and we have MLS Soccer, the Columbus Crew, here in Columbus.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think your college football team could probably beat the Bengals maybe not the Bengals, but definitely for sure the Browns on a regular basis.
We're going to get into Ohio State. That's coming up next. You're absolutely right. This is a Buckeye town for sure. And we didn't see you it was 2 weeks ago. We were in Tampa for a mastermind meeting, but we took a good look at that schedule because if I was going to see you there, Scott, we were going to have you wear a Ohio State hat here tonight.
We may have to figure that out. I didn't get a chance out to Lids tonight before the call like I did with the Detroit. So not a problem.
Some quick stats about Columbus. We got these stats from Business Week, Forbes, and some other sources. Number one, up-and-coming high-tech city. A lot of people call this like the Silicon Valley or the San Francisco area of the Midwest. It's just very techy, and there's a lot of technology stuff happening out here. Number one library was rated number one city for sports, and that's for the Buckeyes. That's college sports is what it is. This place, the whole city shuts down for Ohio State games. We have the number one science center, number one in new corporate facilities. There's new structures going up all over the city. You cannot drive on any freeway without seeing cranes and just things being built all over the place.
Cool.
Number 7, best city for business. Number 13, capital investment projects. Top 10, most livable city. 3% below average unemployment. And here's my big lead up to home of the Division I college, the Ohio State University.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State's a major economic driver out here in Columbus. And we did win the Sugar Bowl, the national championship in 2015. I think they would have went farther, lost a tough game to Michigan State. But we won't talk about that too much. Ohio State, over 60,000 students. Scott, did you realize that there's over 60,000 students at Ohio State?
No, I did not know that. Did not know that till now. That's good. So does that lead to, though, is that a big chunk of your, especially when you have turnkey rentals, is it dive into with the students? Is it more on blue collar, Section 8? Or are you seeing, Dan asked a good question here. What are your ROI goals for investors when you're looking at a turnkey property with it? Are we getting a little ahead with that question, or are you going to dive in?
We're getting a little bit ahead, but let me share this with you. So that's a great question. So when it comes to ROI, we could theoretically and realistically, we could sell properties that produce a 20% ROI all day long, and it would look phenomenal on paper, and we can do webinars, and we can, share, these amazing numbers, but a lot of the times these ridiculous ROIs, like 20%, they're going to be in the rougher areas. Mm-hmm. And we've learned over the years that we only want to focus in the A and the B class when it comes to these properties, because selling the junker properties that look good on paper with the, overinflated ROI, basically it leads to more trouble for that investor down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So the minimum, I'll just share this with you before we get into the properties, but the minimum that we provide is roughly $50,000. That's the low end for us, and the high end is about 140. So between 150, or I'm sorry, between 50,000 and 140, and rents range anywhere between 750 and 1,400 a month.
Okay.
Just to give you a quick overview.
So if
Moving forward,
if somebody's doing a little due diligence online, Dave, and they see something where the rent's below that 750 thing, it's kind of a red flag to kind of avoid then. Can we agree to that a little bit?
I think a little bit, yeah. I mean, or the price point, when you really, like you said, you got to do due diligence, you got to know your market. I think that's so great that you shared that. And I'm going to share why real quick, if I could just touch on this,
Sure.
why investors fail when buying turnkey properties. And this is huge information for your listeners right now and everyone on this webinar. The way people fail at buying turnkey properties is basically they find a property and it looks great from a turnkey provider, and a lot of times the turnkey provider, maybe they own the property or they're just doing a quick double closing. It's something that they just picked up real quick. There's not a lot of pride of ownership. They didn't do any rehab to this property, and
Right.
then they turn around and resell it to an investor for way too much, and it's in a rougher part of town. So it's a true C-class or D-class property that they just sold, and the investor just bought this property for, let's say, $45,000, $50,000. They paid too much for the property. There's boarded up houses right on the next street over and all down the street. And now this investor, because the property looked good on paper, because maybe it says, hey, it's a duplex rented $700 per side, that's $1,400 per month in rent. I'm getting this thing for $50,000. It looks great. Well, you just bought a property right smack dab in the middle of the war zone, and now the investor is going to have to keep sinking money into this alligator to keep it. The maintenance is going to be very high. It's an older built property. We don't want to deal with any of that stuff, so we primarily work in the A and the B class. The lowest we'll go is $50,000, and that's for a true B class
Sure.
property. Yeah. So what we do and how we operate our business is we're well known here in the Columbus, Ohio market as a house buying company. We buy houses, and for your listeners, they can check us out online, sellhousecolumbus.com. We're number one on Google, basically through organic for several search terms, because we've been pumping out the videos and working the systems. Like I know you're a big believer in systems as well, Scott. We do a ton of direct mail. We have every wholesaler in town sending us deals. We look at deals every single day. In fact, Scott, today you sent some deals for us, which we'll be getting into this week. We're looking forward to. And I wanted to make it a point to your investors here, your students, we will buy your note deals. Scott, teach these guys how to go out there and get deals in Columbus, Ohio. We'll buy every single one off of you guys. We want you guys successful. We want you guys selling properties and providing product. We're also open to doing JV type of deals. If one of your students finds something, we are true market experts here, been in the market a long time, and we are not opposed to all of us being successful.
Yeah, that's one I think the biggest thing is when we talked about this, because we started talking about this a month ago, and you're like, well, give me a month. I want to put something together here, make it a little bit more attractive versus just throwing something together. So yeah, guys, Timmy, you asked the question just as he got into it. He'll help partner with you on your note deals, provided it's like in that classification we talked about. Don't send them shit of the shit, all right? Don't send them the fertilizer.
Yeah,
don't send them the war zone. But if it's something good, he'll give you an honest opinion on it. He'll give you some numbers on it and work to create a true win-win. I mean, this way you've got a partner in your really in your back pocket if you need it there in the Columbus area.
Absolutely, and thanks for saying that. We don't want the fertilizer, guys. I mean, it's just going to waste your time and our time. Go out there and find some decent stuff. Scott's giving you the resources. You know how to do this. You just got to get out there and pound the pavement, and you will be successful. Mm-hmm. You know as well as I do, Scott, the barrier of entry into this business, it's a tough business to break into, but when you have strategic alliances with guys like yourself, Scott, and what we're doing in Columbus and all over the country, you can make this happen. Get out there and, shake that money tree, and we can all work together, and we can succeed together.
Sure, definitely.
So moving on, so what we do, we like the A and B quality stuff. We rehab the heck out of our houses, Scott, especially when we're selling a turnkey property. For the simple reason we don't want the end investor who buys our property to have to deal with all sorts of little maintenance and stuff for the life of this investment, because that's going to crush their ROI. And we take we take our rehab very seriously. We set very high standards, and several properties will go above and beyond. If we're getting great deals on granite, we'll put granite countertops in these things, because what a quality rehab allows us to do is also get more of a premium in rent and more of a qualified individual who's going to be able to afford this property, and that's going to make an overall better investment for our end user as well. When we're able to, it increases the ROI when the rent is higher, and we all love long-term tenants.
Yep.
And we'll get into our property management a little bit, but we screen the heck out of people before we let them move into any of our properties. Put a huge emphasis on the mechanicals, replacing the plumbing, the furnaces, hot water tanks. If a roof has less than 5 years left on the property, we're replacing the roof. I can go on and on about our standards. We just spoke with an investor today, and they wanted us to guarantee the maintenance of the house for at least 6 months, or guarantee our scope of work. We'll always replace all the switches and outlets and light fixtures, and he just wanted some kind of simple guarantee in writing. So we're willing to do that because we stand behind our product, and we don't sell shit. In your words, Scott, you say this kind of stuff all the time, but we're not selling turds out there. We want quality over quantity, but we've been able to ramp up our business and our system so we can do a quantity of quality is really what we're looking to do.
Ooh, Q and Q, I like that. I might have to steal that from you, buddy, or give you credit for it 3 times, okay?
That one's mine. Property management always seems to come up, and I am a licensed realtor. As I said, I'm in the process of actually moving my license under this brokerage, ERA, who we've been working with for years, and they handle all the pre-screening of the tenants and the leasing, coordinating maintenance and repairs if needed. They serve 3-day notices if we got to scare somebody to pay their rent. All the accounting is handled online. These are the questions we get all the time. Tenants can also pay their rent online. And investors that we sell turnkey properties to can log in from any computer, see when money hits their account, if they're using a retirement account, an IRA, something of that nature. We're very, very fluent in working with different retirement accounts. And we have a client base. It's a global client base. We've sold to investors everywhere from Singapore, Japan, the Middle East, all over the U.S., and over 400 properties under our current management. And here's something that I want to make a note of. We only charge 6%. It seems like the 10% is the norm for property management, but we're charging 6% because we want the investor to be successful here. If they're not successful, we're not successful, and that's something to consider. So we do have the property management fully dialed in, which is really the glue to hold this whole thing together.
Sure, that makes sense. Plus, you've got quantity too, so that 6% allows you in kind of a bulk discount back to your back-end investors as well. So,
absolutely. Here is this handsome gentleman is Joseph, and I just wanted to read. When we get testimonials, in fact, I got another one on my desk here, right here in front of me. We do videos and slides, but we just got this testimonial. I wanted to put it in here for you guys. And I'll read it real quick. It says, I'm an international investor from Singapore, have been investing in real estate for more than 20 years. Since 2013, I've turned my attention to the U.S. as current rental property yields offer very attractive returns as an asset class. My research has led me to Columbus, Ohio. Good population growth, strong job creation, a thriving university environment coupled with relatively low housing prices makes it one of the U.S. best cities to invest in income-generating properties. My experience with Columbus Turnkey Houses has been very rewarding. Not only is the team very knowledgeable about the real estate market, they are proactive, responsive, and professional in their dealings. From my interactions with them, I know they're all out to build a lasting business based on trust and long-term relationship. As an investor, I'm very happy with how Columbus Turnkey Houses has handled my investment properties in Columbus. And as a business associate, I am privileged to be representing them in Singapore and the Asia region. So I wanted to say this here real quick, Scott. If any of your students have buyers for turnkey properties, by all means, send them to you, Scott. You send them to us. We'll make it work. But, we have great properties, and we do offer some type of referral arrangement if that's the case, and they do have buyers looking for good properties in Columbus.
Cool. Awesome.
Wanted to get into some properties, and now we can kind of start looking at some of the ROIs, because I know you had a question about that. And the first property that wanted to go through, this is 2146 Belcher. And pay attention to these zip codes, because this is going to be good to kind of talk about the different areas and stuff.
Yeah, we had somebody that asked, what are the war zone zip codes? Anything particular in mind to stay out of when they're looking at these lists from asset managers and banks?
Yeah. So there's an area, and you can find this. All you got to do is Google. I don't know the exact zip codes because there's so many different zip codes. But an area called, like the west side of Columbus, called the Hilltop.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be true C-class properties, but we buy these all the time for our own. So just, as far as your investors go, don't be too afraid of that. Where we stay away from is an area called the Bottoms, and the name suits it very well. It's the Bottom, but it's basically called the Franklinton area. It's just really rough. It is up and coming. I mean, they've been talking about rejuvenating it for years, but as of right now, it's just really, really not where you want to be putting money.
Cool. One of the things guys will do as well is I've got a map. Actually, I got a list of 100 Ohio assets in today, or actually last night from somebody. And so literally we narrowed that list down to about 35 in Columbus. I've got them mapped in batch geo. And so Dave's offered to go through kind of giving you a geographic overhead view of those, of like, yeah, that area's bad, this area's okay, stay here, stay away from there, and go from there. So just so you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that pretty well, pretty easy. First property I want to show you guys, and then I'm going to show you some detailed rehab pictures as well. This is 2146 Belcher, and we sold this property for $56,900. If you see on the lower left, the purchase price was $56,900. It's just a little 916 square foot property, but it's in a really good B-class area, and we were able to get $900 a month for the rent. So that's almost $1 a square foot right there.
Nice.
We're conservative with our numbers. We backed out some money for vacancy, cleaning and maintenance, insurance, management fees, some taxes, and the projected net income is $661 per month on this property, Scott. Think about that. Think of somebody, buying this with their IRA, $661 a month coming in. This one calculates to be a projected 13.9% cap rate. But if you pay attention to the pictures here, I'm just going to scroll through.
What kind of appreciation?
Like to remodel our.
Yeah, great. These are great photos on the. But what kind of appreciation are you seeing in Columbus over the last couple of years too, Dave?
We're not going to see the massive spikes. Sure. The double-digit appreciation, but a solid between 4 to 7%, pretty consistently, just across the board. We never got affected by a big burst of a bubble or something like that. But we haven't even, in these projections, we haven't even factored in, a 7% appreciation. So that's just like icing on the cake, or a little gravy for the end investor. Here's the basement. We deal with a lot of basements here in Ohio, so you got to make sure the basements are dry. Basements can make or break a deal. When you guys are investing in Ohio, basically, if you get a bad basement, that could completely kill your deal. So you got to really know what you're looking at.
Avoid the indoor skating rinks, is what you're saying, especially this time of year.
Yeah, you're not kidding either. I just heard a story from another local investor who walked into a house and it was completely frozen. It was 6 degrees all weekend long, Scott. So next property we're going to look at. Hey, you know what? It didn't keep me out of the gym.
That's right. There you go.
This is a gem right here. Look at this thing, $55,900. The gross rent $950. The net $667 per month projected. It's a 14.3%. We love the $50,000 ones. This property has comps of well above what we sold it for too. This was a great deal, and this one we tiled out the property. We've been going more towards tile and vinyl on the flooring, so investors don't have to replace carpet if they get trashed. But as you can see, we do a real good job on the rehab. This one's got a little bit of carpet. You're going to see the same color schemes, guys, because as a business, as a real estate company, we want to do a volume of property. So we're buying the same flooring, same paint, and that's what allows us to do volume and to move quickly is using a lot of the same material. And then what else we get from buying in bulk is, discounts. Is what we always want to do. I pulled this up to give you a good idea of the area, so we could reference these addresses on where they're at. And this is a really good thing, Scott, is go to Trulia and you put in an address, and your students can do this. And if you scroll down, they have a little crime map, and we use this all the time. It's great for sales presentations or people want to know what they're buying. But you see on the left there, the red is the less safe areas, and the green is the safe zone. So we call it like a green light. This particular property, as you can see, 4952 Dimson Drive in Whitehall is the name of the suburb there.
Yeah, I totally recommend that. It's one of the things we dive into due diligence on is checking that Trulia crime mapping. It's definitely the redder the mucho color it gets, the hotter it gets, the worse the deal is usually. So.
Yeah. Red means stop, green means go.
Exactly.
This property, 4200 Dundee, let's go through the numbers pretty quickly. 52.5 is the investment, $800 per month, looking at a net of about 501. Expenses a little bit more on this one. 11.5% is the projected cap rate, and this one came out really good as well. Kind of scroll through our pictures here.
So we got a question. Harry's asking, is this an all-cash deal? Yeah, these are the purchase price you see on these are all cash. You go get a bank loan, it's up to you or use stuff that, those ROIs are based on if it's an all-cash deal for you guys. So obviously, if you're leveraging your money or putting a chunk down or getting bank financing, obviously the ROIs change. But he did these conservatively on an all-cash deal for you. So good question, Harry.
Excellent question, and these are all cash deals. You're absolutely right. When we get into the newer stuff, like we deal with stuff 95 and newer, that's basically our A-class property, and those go between 100 and 140. Oftentimes people will be putting 20% down and getting a bank loan of about 4.7 or whatever the prime rate is. So we do the bank deals as well, but they're at the higher price points.
Sure.
Look at this yard, though. I don't know. I mean, if one of your listeners right now lives in somewhere like LA or a high dollar market, you don't get that much. This is like it's just a huge lot, beautiful remodeled house that you're getting for 52.5 with comps fully to justify that, and just comps way more than 52.5. We like to leave meat on the bone because what we've noticed, Scott, in our business is people don't just buy one property; they buy multiple properties. Right. So we like to do bulk discounts, which no one seems to be opposed to.
Right. Question for you, probably Harry's probably thinking a few others. Do you guys provide any side of like owner financing if somebody brought a chunk down or anything like that, or you're looking for all cash deals?
We don't.
Okay.
We haven't. Yeah, we really haven't done that. Only because we buy all of our properties on not owner finance, but private money. So we have mortgages that we got to pay off.
Sure, that makes sense.
So this one also is in the green zone, and I did want to bring our attention here. Our contact information is in the upper right-hand corner of all these slides. That goes right to our dispositions rep. So when people are, if they're looking to buy properties, that's the best number to call. Our email, info@ColumbusTurnkeyHouses.com, and our website is ColumbusTurnkeyHouses.com. If your investors have properties they want to sell, I'm going to give a different website for that.
Okay.
And that's probably the first one I shared, sellhousecolumbus.com, because that's our acquisitions department.
Cool.
Here's another property. We love this area here, that 43227 and 43228. Solid B-class properties. This one, the investment was $75,000. The investor who bought this property used a bank loan, rented for $950, and the net came out to be about $596. And on a cash purchase, it's 9.5% on the cap rate. Obviously, this person used financing, so they put 20% down. What's that? $15,000.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. 20% of 75. Um, so obviously the cash-on-cash return is much, much higher on a property like this. And this rehab came out very nice. This one, whenever we get hardwood floors, we like to restore the hardwood floors. It just adds a lot of charm to the property, number one. Number two, it is very investor-friendly. So this one has hardwood and tile throughout. And did a great job on the kitchen, as you can see.
Nice.
We've been tiling out a lot of the tub surrounds as well lately, just to, it just lasts so much longer.
It's a nice wow factor as well too, versus just the normal insert that a lot of people put in that just they get kind of nasty after a while. So
look at the rents we're getting too. We're getting that $950, that premium, and these things rent quick. We get a property rented within 1 to 3 weeks, at a premium. In fact, other investors in town, they sometimes, will email us and say, hey, it's not fair, what are you guys doing to get your properties rented so fast? But that's, back to our project or property management, just marketing these properties and doing a really good rehab. It goes a long way.
Makes sense.
This is also in the green zone, as you can see. And this property is available. I just created this slide. This property, it is available, just came available today. This is ideal for a cash purchase as well, $52,000, and this is rented currently for $750 a month. The projected net's $481. For a cash purchase, it's over 11%. Pictures are not as clear on this one, but it's the same concept. You've already seen what our rehabs look like. All hardwood floors on this property. Good-looking kitchen, ideal for a rental property. It's good blue-collar type of tenants here. And we serviced it. We didn't replace these mechanicals because there's at least 5 years left on them. So we sent in a licensed and certified HVAC technician. We did have to, make sure the hot water tank's nice and clean. It's not all rusted, corroded, anything like that. But this is already producing $750 a month. And this is the North Linden area. North Linden is great. We buy properties here all the time. This happens to be in a little orange pocket, as you can see, but there's no problems on this street. It's a very, very quiet street, and we only invest in properties that we would feel comfortable collecting rent at night if we had to. That's pretty much how we determine it. But that's another great property. And with that being said, we can kind of open it up here. That's my last property to show. But what questions do you guys got, and what are you curious about as far as Columbus goes?
Well, let's do this. What do you say we while they're typing in the questions, we'll pull up that map. I'm going to go ahead and take over the slides here, and we'll drop it back to you. What do you say we pull up that map and we'll let people we'll let you give a guided tour there of where we're at here. So show my screen. All right. So can you see my screen there, Dave?
I can.
All right. So let me close that down there. So we've got here, and what I did, everybody, is I just ran it, and then the different colors are like the blue is vacant, the red is unknown, and the green are owner-occupied stuff that I thought may be pretty easy loan modifications to turn them into. But let's say here, so you want to give us an idea, like Upper Arlington, is that a decent area, bad area, kind of go around town there?
Sure. Okay, let's start. Move your little hand over there to the 270 on the left, the 270 freeway.
Yep.
Oh, right there. So that 270 is like a loop. It is. If you go down and then all the way over and around, you can kind of see it's a big loop.
There we go.
So anything close to that 270, there you go. See how it's a big loop, that 270?
Yep.
It's a big circle going from where you see Dublin all the way down to that Grove City, over to the, Reynoldsburg it goes through, up into the Westerville. So anything close to or outside of the 270 is what we would consider most likely A class. It's going to be really good stuff. As you move in, anything close to the 270 is really good, but then the pockets within Columbus is what we're going to talk about here. So look up top, see where it says Worthington up top there?
Yep.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm right on the 315.
Okay.
and that 161, that's where our office is. Go down, move your hand down a little bit. See the
So you're right
Clintonville?
here. You're right here, basically. Yep.
I'm right there right now.
Okay.
Okay, that's where I'm coming from. So Clintonville is good. That's more of like a hipster type of area, if you will. There's a lot of artists and stuff like that, and you find that in a lot of cities. It's like
A
the
lot of
little
skinny jean wearing and beard guys.
yeah. They're drinking IPAs as we speak
There's
and
nothing
putting
wrong
wax
with
on their mustache. Yeah,
that.
you're gonna find that.
No offense, any
Upper
mustache
Ar-
wearers on here. All right, everybody. Sorry.
yeah, we don't mean to offend you. We're all in this together. Upper Arlington's phenomenal, and Grandview Heights, that's phenomenal as well.
Right here.
Those are great areas. Yeah, I live in Grandview.
Okay.
So zoom in a little bit here. Let's go with that first cluster right below Clintonville. That first cluster of properties. So that one that you got right there, that's
right
up
here.
north, that one lone, go up a little bit, scroll that map down.
Like this one here, or
That Lone Ranger, yeah, what's that Lone Ranger hanging out there above Morse Road right there?
okay, yeah, this one right here.
That's a good deal. Yeah, somebody should go after that one.
All right.
Occupied. Let us know, and we'll go knock on the door. Let's figure out what's going on.
Well, we
But
can't knock on the doors till we own the note. We don't want to violate anything. Let's see what it looks like from the rest. Yeah, we don't want to
So
violate.
check this out,
CFPB.
Glendon. Yeah, pulled it. Good job. So the property that I showed you with the granite countertops
Mm-hmm.
is right in this area.
Okay.
So we love this area. We buy houses. We'll get them dialed up real nice. This property looks great.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean this property ARV probably 70s, 80s.
Let's figure out when the picture was taken. That's the important thing I always like to look at. Now that batch geo. So that was taken in October of this last year. Yeah. That's the October 2015 photograph, everybody.
That's a good deal.
Cool. Question here. Donna asked a question. Dave says he'd buy our notes all day long, non-performing and performing, or only once we get them performing. No, you got to remember, Donna, you buy them both, right, Dave?
What's that?
You'll buy both performing and non-performing. If like this is a non-performing asset, you would pick this up. You'd be interested in buying this one, correct?
Correct. Yeah. Do you mean like vacant or occupied?
Yeah. Performing or non-performing. That's what we got a question about.
Yeah. No, we'll take it. Yeah. In fact, we prefer them sometimes when they're vacant. If they need rehab, we'll take them when they're vacant, so we can get in there right away and rehab them and get them performing the way we want them to be.
Cool. All right. So let me take this out a little bit so we can go back here and look at some of the others. Okay. Whoops. What did I just do? All right. So which one should we go to next?
All right. So let's go below that property. You were just at that Morris Road property.
Yep, right here.
Yeah. So now don't click in on any one of them, but look at that cluster there. Right in there, that cluster that we're looking at.
Just
that
up
whole
in
cluster.
the
That's going to be your hit or miss.
Okay.
You could find some really good stuff in there. Like that North Broadway, see the green one by North Broadway?
Yep.
Click on that one. Let's just take a look at that one because that could be a good one actually. Or it could be a rough one. But that is where you basically there's some really good stuff around that North Broadway area. In fact, that property that I showed you on Grasmere, the last one that I showed, is in this area. Remember how you saw on the map how it was orange?
Mm-hmm.
There was like green and spots of orange.
Yeah.
That's where this area is going to be.
Okay.
Norwood, we own one on Norwood right now. So the street doesn't look bad.
No.
It's just one of those areas though where if you go on the wrong street, you could find yourself some boarded up properties.
Yeah, this is an empty
this particular street
yard though. This is what this looks like. Somebody's got it as a lot. So.
Yeah. This isn't a bad one though. I'm here to tell you. Now, if we go back to that cluster, we start to get a little rougher.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start getting rougher here. But if you noticed, we started up north, and that was kind of close to the 270, and as we move south, we're starting to get a little worse.
Yep.
So if you click on, so that little cluster is all pretty much hit or miss, and that's that part of town. So let's move to a different part of town. If you want to zoom out again.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go to, okay, so notice our cluster below that, right outside of the S in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice that area where outside of there where it says Bexley, Bexley's very high dollar because that's all the old money. That's where, have you ever been to a major city where you got a lot of rough areas and then all of a sudden you turn the corner and you're looking at all these mansions and like these old properties that are just absolutely stunning and gorgeous? That's what Bexley is. It's really nice. But right outside of Bexley, to the left, where we got a cluster of properties to look at here, it gets rough. That's a rough little patch right in there. But then if you keep going into that German village, now you're running into more like historic type of properties. If you find something a great deal in this German village, you know, if you find a great note deal that you could just scoop up or something like that, you can make so much. That's such a trendy little area where things don't really go up for sale often. It's a lot of old money, if you will, in both of those areas. But right in between that Bexley and German village, you're looking at some war zone in there.
Yeah, like what you write down here in this area here, you think, or they would be decent, or just hit and miss?
Go, yeah. Click on this. Yeah, click on that one.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. So Whittier, click on the one on Whittier. Whittier is this little area is rough, my friend.
It is rough. This one here is rough. Okay. All right, so we'll take it out then. That's fine. Hey, that's what people need to know. This is what's great about these. Right up here, Whittier, you're talking about?
Whittier, click on that one. Let's take a look at it. Can we see the property?
Yeah, sure can.
Yeah, Miller. So there's an exit off the freeway. It's called Miller-Kelton. We joke around and we call it Miller-Kilton. You might get killed. We have houses here, though, guys. I'm here to tell you, we're a serious buyer. We have houses in this area. It is rough there, but you know, there's a board up right there.
Yeah. Right back in there.
This is a rough block. I mean, some of these streets, this may not be a bad street. In fact, I know this street very well. But some of these streets, you know, you don't want to be driving around at night. Let's put it that way.
That makes sense.
Now, we'll keep our tour going. So you know about the German village. But a lot of this stuff, it is really kind of hit or miss. So notice where your cursor, your little hand there is Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Yep.
There's that hilltop. Notice right above Hollywood Casino.
Yep, right there.
So, yeah, so those properties, and then go above that, see the one that says Valley View?
Yep.
We love houses up there. I bet you that's a pretty good one right there.
Let's look at that one.
So, yeah, you could find some really good little gems all around that casino. It's where you're going to find that after repair value of about $80,000, and then in the hilltop, it's going to be half that after repair value in about $45,000. So, see, that's a little better. Big house. Notice the one on the left.
Yep.
Some pride of ownership, you know, and we buy houses in these areas all day. These are not bad.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Is that the subject property?
It's right here, yes, sir. This one right here. Whoops, what did I just do? It's
a decent little area, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
We'd be very interested in this area. You don't see any broken down cars.
Let's run drop it.
So that's on the west side, but it's a little bit on the farther west side. when you get closer to Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
anything surrounding the city is going to be typically a little rougher, as you can
Mm-hmm.
imagine, like many cities. You get on the outskirts a little bit, by the casino, um, by that Valley View where you have leads here.
Yep.
I mean, you got leads. You got some good leads on your hands.
Sweet, man. Well, let's make it happen. What do you say? Let's make it happen. Let's see
Let's
here.
do it this week.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Got some questions coming in. Yes, Terry, non-performing note versus non-performing asset. We buy the non-performing note. Yeah, they'll definitely. I'll look at non-performing notes of that neck of the woods. So, vice versa. Yeah, Dave will look at them. I'll look at them. I'm not a rehab owner. Do you create notes and do you have any for sale? So Harry's looking for performing notes on his stuff. Dave's a fix and flipper and a turnkey renter as far as a provider. So Harry, he's got some deals that he's managing and turnkey and it can help with the on-site management stuff like that. So really, based on a couple of the examples you've got a 9 to 12% plus cap rate that you can talk about. So Harry, what we can do is we can maybe touch base directly with Dave and go from there. So. Jason asked is there an audio in the drive next to it? That looks like an Audi there, doesn't it?
This is a good little area right here.
Sweet.
I'd love to scoop something up over here.
Cool.
We'll buy it right from you guys, or
all right.
And
then question here: how about multifamily? Are you doing any duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes as well?
We've done, but our bread and butter is single family because they're just cleaner.
Yeah.
And multifamily, although they look better on paper, we got a couple multifamilies that we provide and we own ourselves, but we've really been targeting single family. But we will look at anything. A deal's a deal.
Right. Know? Question for you on this. Here, take that away. Where's Ohio State U compared to some of this stuff? Where's that located?
Sure. So notice where your cursor is. See where it says downtown.
Yep.
Go above that. See where it says short north.
Yep.
That's the real artsy district there. That's true artsy. And then if you keep going north from there, you see University District.
Yep. Oh, there it is.
And then there you go, the Ohio State University. Yep.
Okay, cool. Cool. So you made a comment about the bottoms, to stay away from the bottom. Where's that located? Is that on the south side here?
Okay, so it's going to see where the word Columbus is?
Yep.
Zoom in right on Columbus, right on the word.
Okay.
On your map. So, okay, right about there, and then, so scroll, see where it says South Franklinton? Down towards, scroll up if you can. And right here where it says Franklinton, see that 62, see Rich Street? Or actually, scroll the other way, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So the lower, right there, stop right there. And on the left side of the screen where it says Franklinton.
Yep, right here, South Franklinton.
South Franklinton, and then north of that, right there, Franklinton.
Mm-hmm.
Where, see that South Central Avenue?
Yeah, right here.
So a lot of that stuff's pretty rough.
So South Central in Columbus is very similar, like South Central in LA, then.
Yeah, they considered filming the NWA movie, but they decided to do it in California.
Cool.
So you guys have bad pockets. So Sullivan, I could be driving to Lowe's or going to see a property or something on that Sullivan Avenue, and you see, there's that's where you see drug use and there's cops over there and there's some stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But then once you get out of that little pocket, it gets better. But there's that's where you could pick up a house. It may look great. You're like, wow, I just got this house for $5,000. Mm-hmm. Well, you might have just bought Crack Central. So.
Yeah. Might have bought a lot after everything's said and done. So.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we got a question. You got a couple questions here. Let's pull these up here. Okay. No, Harry, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be busy. I'm actually up on the north side of Austin, up at Pecan Park in 183. I'm not on the south side. If you want to swing by and come by, I might have a half hour in the afternoon. after like 1 or 2 o'clock if you want to swing by the office for 30 minutes. I may have some time. So, Katie, as we talk about notes, yeah, I mean, guys, you're going to see inventory across the country on a whole variety of different things. And so with the note aspect of this, I'll give you an example. These here that we're seeing on the screen here are all non-performing notes. And some are occupied, some of them are vacant, some of them are unknown. And so if you're looking at taking these down, you're probably, normal note pricing is going to be probably similar to what we see in the Detroit market. It's probably going to pick up somewhere around 30% of fair market value as it sits right now on the note side. So you're going to have to expect, though, to take it a 6 to 9 month foreclosure process to literally take the property back if you've got to foreclose. Now, obviously, if you get a deed in lieu or cash for keys, that's a good thing to expedite that process. And then being able to turn around like Dave was talking about, and you either sell that asset as a market that makes sense for you, or bring Dave on as a partner. If you got to rehab it, great, or turn around and have somebody there who's got some relationships with rehabbers and turnkey to turn it into a rental if you want to keep it long-term for cash flow. That's all dependent. I mean, if you're buying something like, I'll give you an example. Let's just say number here is $70,000. If you're picking up at 30% of really value, let's just say 40%. That's a $28,000 purchase price. But if you've got $28,000 purchase price, let's just say extreme $5,000 for foreclosure costs and servicing fee, that puts you at 33. Well, if you're getting $800 a month, that you're netting 600 times 12 is $7,200 in profit annually on a rental on a $35,000 investment. It's a 20% ROI. All right. That's a phenomenal turnkey for you. Or you look at this, you turn around and Dave helps you move it, sell it to somebody else at, double what you paid, and you still leave meat in the bone. That's a 100% ROI for you if you can do it in 12 months after some repairs. So, question here for you, Dave. Is there a budget that you guys kind of try to stay in or around as far as repair costs that you're doing to a property?
We repair it to, if we're selling a turnkey property,
yeah,
we put in as much money as it takes to make it a long-standing, sustainable investment for the end buyer to meet our standards. Mm-hmm. So we'll put anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 into a property, an A-class property that needs it.
Yeah.
But we budget for that before we buy,
sure,
so we make sure it's a profitable transaction. Now, get this, and maybe this will come in handy for if people want to sell properties to us. Mm-hmm. When we are buying for our own buy and hold, mm-hmm. we will buy in these C-class areas where we're not going to, buy in the south central of Columbus,
right,
and the fertilizer area, but we will take on some of the quote-unquote rougher areas, and we want to be all in for $25K. That's acquisition and rehab. If we can be all in for $25K, we'll buy those for our own portfolio.
Yeah, that makes complete sense for you on that, because that can give you plenty of room for the pain in the ass shit you've got to deal with. Got a question on here. How do I get notes? Well, Katie, you reach out to asset managers. You reach out to banks. This list actually was just a chunk of, I'll literally show you the list. The list was literally, when I sent an email out, I got an asset manager in North Carolina who sent me this list. It was literally 100 plus assets long, all across Ohio, not just Columbus, but all across. Alan asked a question, is that $25,000 material and labor, or just or just materials? Dave, on what you talked about.
$25,000 is, yeah, labor, materials, that's everything. Acquisition, all in for $25K.
Sure. So going back to Katie's here, question, you get your notes from reaching out to asset managers, to banks, dialing for dollars, reaching out to hedge funds. Columbus and Ohio and Detroit and Michigan, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, those have been kind of the blights for the bigger hedge funds because they like the $100,000 property or greater. They like the higher end stuff that they can turn and move and facilitate this. But as you can see, there is still a lot of money made in the sub $75,000, sub $100,000 valued houses. Some great areas of every town. I mean, every town's got a rougher area, but every town's got a really great area. That's why we bring Dave on, because Dave knows the area. He's investing there. He's lived there for years. He knows the market. He's got the relationships to really help you succeed in a market that maybe you need to get outside of your hometown or get outside your backyard to make things happen. Let's see. quite a question here. What about buying the note and then trading to Dave for a turnkey house that they manage? Jeff, I think you might have to trade 2 or 3 non-performing assets to get a good one from Dave on stuff like that. All depends on the value and things like that.
A deal's a deal, though. I like how you train your students to think outside the box,
Right,
Scott.
right.
I mean,
Alan, Alan, I'll tell you what. Yeah, you and I can talk offline a little bit later, Alan. No problem about that. Let's see here. Edward asked a question. If you have an oops, can you move a property even if it's something you aren't interested in? Like, do you know people who will buy there outside of kind of your area, Dave? Look through the local investment clubs or meetups or things like that. There are people that like let's just say the D and the C's that you know of.
The people who like to buy in the D and the C area?
Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
We buy for our own portfolio in those areas, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take them on, but we want to be in that all-in 25K. You know what? It's a hot market, though, Scott, and I'm not the stuff. Like, you can't be in the heart of the bad, but if you get a good enough deal on a note deal and you take this property over, call us because we can throw it out on the MLS and we can potentially find a buyer that way. Maybe somebody who wouldn't buy under the same, category or same criteria as us. But there's so little inventory on the MLS right now. I tell people all the time, new people and people who are just getting into this market, put some stuff on the MLS and you're going to see some buyers.
Yeah, and that's
a good deal. And
that's one of the big things that I liked when Dave and I were talking about it, because the group we're a part of, it's a group called Collective Genius, and it's really 110, 130 of really the top, real estate investors out there. There's a small niche of us in there, like, I'd say 4 or 5% maybe that are note investors. A lot of our turnkey, fix and flip, wholesalers. And that's why I was like, hey, this is a great group to leverage with some people. And I reached out to Jason Medley out of Tampa and said, hey, who's the guy in Columbus? And he's like, oh, you got to talk to Dave. And then Dave and I were talking on the phone. We're already part of this fitness group. So I was like, perfect. There's a lot of people looking for deals out there, everybody. A lot of people looking for deals because the REOs have dried up. The HUDs that a lot of people are used to looking for are dried up. And that's why we're trying to leverage the relationship, Dave's experience, knowledge, expertise, resources, and you guys, because you guys can be reaching out to the banks. You're going to be finding this stuff. That's really where you're going to be finding a lot of the deals and really kind of marrying the two together. Hey, if you're looking for turnkey stuff, like somebody was looking for earlier, hey, Dave's there to help provide it for you. That can be good yield for you. If you need somebody help, it can be a real win-win for you to make things happen. I mean, eyes and ears on the ground is the most important thing for you versus looking at Google Maps. I mean, as you can see, as we're going through that map, get an idea, hey, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense for you. You know what I mean? So what other questions you guys have for Dave, everybody? And I probably just scared him off, but we got a ton of people on here.
Don't be afraid. Hey, you could ask about Ohio State football. You could ask about any number of things. I'm happy to be here, and I've been looking forward to doing this with you, Scott.
Yeah, same here. I mean, we were talking earlier before we got on a little bit earlier today too about going up to Columbus and having a buying tour, driving around, taking a look at a better feel for the market a little bit. If you guys are interested, let me know. We could probably throw you guys in on it because we're probably looking like the part of July or something like that to do that, or August when it's nice and warm. You're welcome. Now, people are giving you some shots out and great market information there for you, Dave. Thanks for providing your insights on that stuff. That's good. Let me do this. I'm going to put this back. I'm going to change back presenters to you so you've got your slides up there so people can get your contact information as well for you, buddy.
Sure. The best way to get in touch with us is email. If you call that number, it's going to be, right to our dispositions representative, and that'll scare the crap out of her. We'll just blow up her phone, She's not going to know. She doesn't even know I'm doing this webinar. So the best way to communicate is info@ColumbusTurnkeyHouses.com.
Hey, Dave.
And that actually goes to myself and the whole company.
Sure. I just gave you access back so you can pull up one of your slides so that's got that information on it if you'd like. So people have that. Yeah. They can write it down. And then we had a couple other questions. What are you guys seeing as far as tax liens or tax deeds in there in Columbus? You seen a lot of investing in that? Do you know what the rules are in that for Columbus and Ohio by any chance?
I really don't. I'm not the guy to ask for that.
Hmm.
It's a whole business within itself, and I promise you, there's people making money doing it. But there's always opportunity. I cannot really share any good information about that,
It's fine.
unfortunately.
That's cool. Rather you be honest versus saying nothing that's true, and that's what I like about you, Dave. Question here from Elishama asked a question: are you only looking for normal 3 bedrooms, 2 bath kind of things, or is there a lot of interest in the market for 2 2s, 2 1s, 3 1s? We want to talk about that for a second.
I think that's the rule of thumb. Everybody likes to go for the 3 bedroom because it's just so much more functional as a property. But I'm here to let you guys know, when you start digging around for notes in the Ohio market, the state of Ohio, the Midwest in general, but specifically Ohio and Columbus, if you find we almost bought one. Somebody beat us to it, unfortunately. A 2 bedroom, 1 bath house, and we don't prefer a 2-1, but we were getting it for like $7,500. So it's like, what credit card should I put this house on, right?
Because the rents on that would be a phenomenal ROI for you with the rents, right?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So I said in the very beginning, this is not a speculative game we play out here in Ohio. We are all about yield, and we're all about ROI as well. And I don't know, can you see me, Scott?
Yeah.
I want to show you.
Yeah.
You can see me? So I keep one of these on my desk. Even though I'm a turnkey guy and I'm a buy and hold guy, your students will recognize what this thing is.
At the 10.
And yeah, that's right. The HP, it's the Hewlett-Packard financial calculator. So we do the same thing. If we can get a smoking deal, because we have the management in place, we're here, we're boots on the ground, we can, effectively manage things. So if you get a good deal on something, maybe nobody else in town would want this thing, and you're out of state, you're like, there's no way I'm touching this thing, I don't know what I'm getting involved in, call us, we'll take it off your hands, make sure you get paid as well, and we can all be in this thing together.
Cool. We got a question. John threw some stuff in on the tax lien. He goes, tax liens are tough in Franklin County or Columbus. They only usually sell to large institutional investors. They package all together and sell to the highest bidder. So it should answer that for everybody there too. So thanks for the question. Thanks for the answer there, John, on that, and a little insight there for you. Cool. What other questions do you have, guys? It's 9. He's getting close to 9:30 there in Columbus. Don't want to take too much of Dave's time as well, but now's the time to ask any questions that you have regarding Columbus and what's going on. Once again, Dave, you want to repeat, because we've got your stuff there, info at Columbus House Buyers. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you if they need to talk to you?
No worries. So it's actually info at Columbus Turnkey Houses.com.
I had that cut off. Yeah. That's my bad. Sorry.
No worries. And then really, your students, if you guys are growing a real estate company or doing anything, we help. I've done webinars with Justin Williams and a bunch of guys and helping students, and maybe that's another webinar, Scott, but sure. Go check out sellhousecolumbus.com. That's our site for sellers, and we've been able to organically grow that to be the #1 on Google. Our competitors who we keep an eye on, they spend so much money on ads and stuff like that, and we dominate the internet for Columbus, Ohio, and a lot of that has come from video marketing and things like that. And I know you just went to traffic conversion. I saw you on Facebook. Yeah. Scott, you're into this stuff too. You and I mean, we can talk for hours. I would love to teach some of your students if there was a market for that, if there was interest in, that video marketing and things like that for their own business. I think you and I could add a ton of value. Yeah,
it's funny you say that. There's actually some stuff in the works for that. Actually, we'll have to talk a little bit more offline about that, buddy.
For sure.
Definitely.
When it comes to the video stuff, we've got it really dialed in. But to find us, info at ColumbusTurnkeyHouses.com. I'd prefer it if you didn't call that number. It's going to go to our dispositions rep. And you'll find us if you've got houses that you want to submit, if you have deals and you want to talk about deal flow, you can just go ahead and email that. It goes to the whole company, and somebody's going to see it. Yep.
Or contact me, and we'll make sure to get it directly over to Dave for you as well, guys. All right. Well, hey, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. I know it took you a little while to put this together, and then on a Monday night, hey, there's no football going on, so you ain't got to worry about missing any football, right?
I'm going to do some front squats after this. You're going to look on the group text here, Scott. You're going to work out as well, aren't you?
I am. I'm headed to the boxing gym to knock out the hanging bag for a little while, and then in the gym first thing in the morning as well. So, that's looking forward to that, and then hitting some cardio after that too. So, Vance says, thanks, Dave. Great meeting, Dave. Joe says, Bill, thanks, Dave. Dave, thanks again, buddy. As always, everybody, for those of you that are watching this live, it will be available here, actually, probably the next 20 minutes online for you. If you're catching this the second time around on a replay, as always, with any questions, feel free to make sure you like the video, share it. Drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com if you have any questions, insight, or get a hold of Dave as well. So, hey, Dave, thanks again, buddy. And we'll talk to you guys later, everybody. Have a great evening. And once again, hey, if you're in Houston, come see me at the Build Your Legacy Summit. We got about 50 extra seats left available for you guys to take advantage of. We'll see you later, Dave.
See ya.
And we are done.